it feels like everyone in crypto is kind of holding their breath, you know? Like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, there's definitely that sense of anticipation.
A ton of activity. But the market cap is down a bit. Feels like the calm before the storm, maybe.
Yeah.
We're going deep on this today.
Sounds exciting.
Oh, it is. We're looking at this crypto market report, December 19th, 2024, from Crypto Deep Dive. And it is juicy.
All right, lay it on me.
So are you ready to unpack the latest crypto trends? Maybe we can make some sense of what's coming next.
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Okay, so the report's painting this, well, kind of crazy picture. Global crypto market cap, $3.35 trillion. Huge, obviously.
That is massive.
But it's down a little.
Down a bit, yeah.
At the same time, though, get this. Trading volume is up over 11%.
That is interesting. It does seem like everyone's kind of, getting ready to jump, but not sure which way to go yet.
It's a real paradox, right?
Definitely a paradox.
Okay, so where does our old friend Bitcoin fit into all of this? Still top dog.
Bitcoin is still king of the hill, yeah. Holding strong at 57.39% dominance. But, and this is a but, even Bitcoin's dominance has dipped a little bit.
Okay, so even Bitcoin is feeling the heat a little.
A little bit, yeah. And here's what I found really interesting. Looking at the report, this record-breaking outflow from Bitcoin ETFs.
Outflow meaning?
Money flowing out, people selling. We're talking $671.9 million in a single day. The largest single-day outflow ever.
Whoa. So big money is getting out of Bitcoin.
Seems that way, yeah. Which makes you think, right? What do they know that we don't?
So is this like a vote of no confidence?
Possibly. I mean, it could be profit-taking after the recent rally, right? Some people cashing out.
Smart move if you timed it right.
Exactly. But it could also be something else, something more significant, like institutional investors getting cold feet, maybe because of all these new regulations coming out.
Regulations, always shaking things up.
Always. And this is where things get really intriguing, I think, because this outflow, it really raises questions about Bitcoin's short-term stability.
Yeah. It's not looking too steady right now.
Not as steady as it has been.
So some jitters in the Bitcoin world. What else is going on? What else caught your eye in the report?
Well, institutional adoption is always an interesting area to watch, right?
Right.
So we saw this announcement from Quantum BioPharma.
Who are they?
They're a big pharmaceutical company, very established, and they just announced a $1 million purchase of Bitcoin and other cryptos.
$1 million. That's chump change for a big pharma company.
It is, relatively speaking. But here's the thing. They're saying it's part of their treasury diversification strategy.
Diversification, so not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. Their stock actually dropped 10% after they made this announcement.
Wait, what? They invest in crypto, a supposedly forward-thinking move, and the market punishes them for it.
It's pretty wild, right? I mean, you'd think Wall Street would be all over this, but it seems like they're not quite convinced.
I guess some people are still on the fence about crypto. Like, is it the future of finance, or is it just a fad?
Exactly. And this reaction from the market, to me, it suggests a real lack of faith in crypto's long-term value. Or maybe they're just afraid of how volatile it is. Who knows?
It's hard to tell. For sure. So mixed signals on the institutional adoption front. But what about DeFi? That's where all the cool kids are hanging out these days, right?
DeFi is definitely the place to be if you're into innovation. And the report highlighted some really interesting projects, like Solv. They're launching their token on the Hyperliquid blockchain. Imagine a world where you could get a loan, trade bonds, even invest in really complex financial stuff, all without going through a bank.
Wow, that's pretty radical.
It is. That's the promise of Solv and of DeFi in general, cutting out the middleman.
So less bureaucracy, more freedom.
Exactly.
Sounds great in theory, but is this something the average person can actually use? Or is it just for, like, super techie people?
That's the challenge right now, yeah. The learning curve can be pretty steep, but there's a real push to make DeFi more user-friendly.
So, like, trying to make it accessible for everyone.
Absolutely. It's like the early days of the internet, remember? Clunky, confusing, but then everyone figured it out.
I think DeFi is going through the same thing.
So potentially a game changer, but still a work in progress.
Exactly. And speaking of game changers, there's this music platform, Audius, that's using blockchain to pay artists directly.
Wait, really? So musicians could actually make a living from their music again?
That's the idea. They cut out the record labels, the streaming giants, all the middlemen who take a big cut.
And the artists get paid every time their song is streamed.
Directly, yeah. It's a pretty revolutionary concept.
It is. So are we talking about, like, indie bands here, or could this go mainstream? That's what's so cool about it. Audius recently partnered with ICE, a major music rights organization. We're talking about a massive catalog of music, potentially shaking up the entire industry.
Wow. Okay, so DeFi, music, what else is this report telling us about?
One more thing. Governments around the world are starting to figure out how they want to deal with this whole crypto wave. Some are embracing it, some are more hesitant.
It's a whole new world, for sure. And it sounds like we've only just scratched the surface.
We've only just begun.
Yeah.
Yeah, governments are definitely trying to figure out where they fit into all of this. It's like embrace the future or cling to the past, big decisions.
Right. And it seems like every country is taking a different approach. So who's, like, leading the charge here? Who's really going for it?
Well, the report highlighted France. They just gave this company, Hexarch, the green light to offer blockchain financial services.
Hexarchs.
It's a crypto subsidiary of BPCE, which is like a huge banking group over there. So this is a pretty big deal, like a major bank dipping its toes into crypto.
Wow, so they're not just, like, tolerating crypto. They're actually integrating it into their system.
Yeah, pretty much. They're creating a space for crypto to grow, but within their existing regulations.
Interesting. So France is taking a pretty progressive approach, it seems.
Definitely. But, not everyone's on the same page.
Oh, I bet.
You've got some countries that are super wary of this whole decentralized thing. They're worried about losing control of their financial systems.
Makes sense.
Then you've got others who are more concerned about the risks, like, money laundering, illegal stuff.
So it's a balancing act for governments. They want to encourage innovation but also protect people?
Exactly. And all these different approaches, it just makes the whole landscape really complex.
Yeah, I can imagine. So where does this leave, like, the average person? Someone who's curious about crypto, but maybe a little overwhelmed by all of this?
That's a great question. And it really highlights how important education is. The more you understand about crypto, the better decisions you can make.
So do your research. Don't just jump in blindly.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions. There are tons of resources out there.
Okay, good advice. So we've talked about, like, the investment side of crypto, but what about the practical stuff? How could this actually affect our everyday lives?
That's where it gets really exciting, I think. We talked about DeFi and how it could change finance, but the applications go way beyond that. Blockchain technology, the thing that makes crypto work, it's being used in all sorts of fields. Like supply chain management, healthcare, even voting systems.
Wait, hold on. Voting systems on a blockchain. That sounds kind of sci-fi.
Right, but it could be really revolutionary. Imagine a system where your vote is recorded on a blockchain. It'd be super secure, transparent, no more worries about fraud or manipulation.
So more trust in elections.
Exactly. Of course, it's still early days, but the potential is huge.
Wow. Okay, so crypto isn't just about digital money. It's a whole new way of thinking about how we do things.
Absolutely. It's about decentralization, transparency, putting power back in the hands of the people.
But, like with any new technology, there are going to be challenges, right?
Of course. Scalability is a big one. As more people use crypto, the networks need to be able to handle all those transactions. And we've seen some slowdowns and high fees in the past.
So kind of like the early days of the internet when dial-up was, like, painfully slow.
Exactly. We need that crypto equivalent of broadband. And then there's security, obviously. We've seen hacks, scams, thefts. So people need to be careful, learn how to protect themselves.
So buyer beware, do your research.
Absolutely. But despite all that, I'm still really optimistic about the future of crypto.
You are?
Yeah. We're still in the early stages, but there's so much innovation happening. It has the potential to change so many things for the better.
That's great to hear. So you're saying it's not all doom and gloom?
Not at all. It's a wild ride for sure, but I think it's going to be an incredible journey.
Okay, well, I'm feeling a little more hopeful now. But speaking of wild rides, there's this one story in the report that really jumped out at me. El Salvador. Remember them?
Ah, yes. El Salvador. They went all in on Bitcoin. Big time.
And they got a lot of flack for it, right?
Yeah, especially from the IMF. They basically told El Salvador to chill out, be more cautious.
But El Salvador just keeps on going. They even bought more Bitcoin recently, like they're doubling down. Is that, like, brave or crazy?
It's definitely a bold move, and it's put them on the map as this, like, crypto pioneer. Whether it's a smart move or not, only time will tell.
It's like they're conducting this big experiment, and the whole world's watching.
Exactly. And it's raising all these questions about the role of Bitcoin in national economies. Like, could this be the future?
So to wrap things up here, what are the main takeaways you want our listeners to remember about this crazy crypto world?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that crypto is growing up. It's
Yeah.
moving beyond those early Wild West days, becoming something more mature, more complex. There are still challenges, of course, but the potential is just massive. It really could change the world in ways we can't even imagine yet.
It's a pretty exciting time to be following all of this, that's for sure. We've gone from institutional adoption and DeFi to government regulations and even the ethics of it all. It's a lot to take in, but one thing is clear, crypto is here to stay, and it's going to continue to surprise us. So stay curious, stay informed, and who knows, maybe we'll all be paying for our coffee with Bitcoin one day.
Maybe sooner than you think.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.